So there you are. You have any questions, guys?
So does everybody have an understanding of what you need to do for Monday or for Friday? I'm sorry. And that is, you need a name of your restaurant. You need to kind of come up with a concept or what type of food or whatever else. And you're going to need to come up with a mission statement, some sort of statement that describes what your restaurant's all about. And, you know, is it, you know, whatever it is. And what I would suggest is maybe getting on, typing up mission statements, restaurants, and looking for mission statements so you can get an idea, a few more ideas of certain mission statements and what you know what they all mean and all of that. But that is what you're going to need for Friday. Did everybody follow that?
Yes, chef.
Rock and roll. A question was asked on the chat, do we start building the menu yet? I would say,
yeah, if you think that you can start building your menu, you should start working on that too.
Yeah.
But don't start working your menu until you have your concept, because all is around, all the food and everything, it moves around the idea of the concept and the name, isn't it? So you have to work on that first. Yep.
Yep.
Got it, Chip. Okay, perfect. So, guys, today we're gonna into day 6 of 29 days, guys. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And today we're gonna talk about decision making and delegation. This is one of the big problems that we have in the industry, you know, how you identify the problems that you have in the restaurant business, you know, and be sure that you really, really identify the problem and not the cause of a problem, you know, and the cost, really, really, what is causing the problem so you can fix it. So, and this is like the doctor, you know, you have to, you have a headache and you go to the doctor and says, doctor, I have a headache. And the doctor is not going to tell you, no, okay, I give you, you know, an aspirin for your headache, and that's it. The doctor, what we try to do is find what is the cost of that headache, you know, why you have that headache. And that will be the real problem to solve, isn't it? What is the cost of that headache? The same exactly thing happened on the restaurant business. We have to learn how to identify the problems in order to be sure we're able to fix it, isn't it? So not just the symptoms, but the real problem. So that's a real thing, you know, and that is one of the big deals that we have to work with, because sometimes we're trying to fix the symptoms and the problem persists over there because we don't really get to fix the real problems that we have in any operation. So that's something that we're going to talk about today, guys, and I think is an interesting topic, and it will help you to address not only problems that you have as a business, but any problem that you can have by yourself. So there you are. So first of all, guys, I'm gonna get into what is, because we talk a little bit about Escoffier, and Escoffier was a problem solver, isn't it? So what happened in the past is that the kitchens were a chaos, complete chaos, and people who works in the kitchen, they were not recognized. They were just there. There was no leadership. There's nothing, you know, and they were just working really hard, and they have a lot of problems. So there was no structures, there was no chain of command, there was no hierarchy, nothing. So what happened is it was a disaster. So Agus Escoffier came and he started thinking, you know, how do I fix this problem? Big problem on the kitchens. So that's what he did. He developed a system in order to operate a professional kitchen, as I told you before. We call the system of brigades, isn't it?
Brigade system.
Yes. So his vision was to departmentalize, you know, like divided all the tasks by group of tasks, isn't it? Yes. And that need to be performed, you know, and identify, you know, what are common tasks that they have to do, and they start putting together, and then he has to he create that with brigades, with define, you know, a group of people that are operating, you know, some part of the kitchen's duties, and that has 140 years, 140 years since he implemented that, and we're still using it. So that was so useful to create this system, isn't it? So what he started doing is he take in consideration the responsibility, the authority, and the efficiency, and how how that influences the morale of the people. There you are. So responsibility and authority, that was the big thing for him. And Escoffier knew that he was given an individual responsibilities. If there is no authority, it will not going to work. So he need to give to the individual responsibility, but he has to have some kind of authority in the middle, isn't it? Who leadership that group of people. So that's the kind of things that he experienced from the French military oversized position, because he used to work on the military. So until today, we have this that we call yes chef, no chef. And you're gonna get into the kitchens probably in the next block or so, I don't know exactly, but maybe. And somehow you're gonna get into the kitchen, and you will have to do that, you know. We'll talk in the kitchens, yes chef, no chef. Have you ever been in which one of you have been working in the kitchens before?
I have, chef.
So you understand yes chef, no chef?
Yes, chef.
Exactly, isn't it? So to get efficiency, you know, in the kitchens, he do that. They create a system of how does this hierarchy? Just
hierarchy.
Hierarchy, you know, yes. And that comes in a pyramid way, you know, that the operation moves and every area has their own leaders, you know, and that they have their responsibilities over their shoulders, and that's how create these brigades.
While we're waiting, Valderall, can I ask you a question? Do you use a Google?
Hello? Who was making questions, Chef?
Okay.
No, I don't think anybody was.
So putting the system of brigades, he has more efficient, isn't it? Yes, he get more efficient. It helps the morality of the people because they really get into the kitchen and says, now these kitchens belong to gentlemen. So the people who are going to work in the kitchens are gentlemen, and you're going to be treated, but you have to work as a real gentleman. So that's the only way that we're going to gain respect, if you are really professional in the kitchen. So professionalism was very, very high on what Escoffier do it, isn't it? And that at the end, what create that sense of belonging. These people belongs to something that really make you feel good. So more that you feel good, you start loving it. So yes, it helps to the employee morale. And that sounds like a military approach. Yes, it comes with a military approach. So our work is very close to the military. It's how we make the things very the same concept that the military do is the way that we work in our kitchens. So if you hate militaries, you cannot work in the kitchen because we almost has the same concept, guys.
Chef,
Yes.
are we doing slides? Or a PowerPoint?
Are you not seeing it?
No.
Okay, let me go back. There you are. So now you see it?
Yes.
Yes, so that's responsibility and authority. On the kitchen, very important. Yes, chef, no chef, isn't it? We have more efficiency in the way that the works, as team works, and that high level of efficiency in the kitchen is what the system make it to do. Because of the responsibilities. It helps with the employee morale because you are engaged in a group and a structure that really bring that honorable duty that you have to do. Then it's a very military way, as I told you. That's how we work in the kitchen. Individual responds very well to an order. There is efficient and consistency, and there is that kind of thing. So, yes, chef is more just than a short response to help to create pride in the position. Is a reflection of the order and unity that we want in the kitchen. And there is something that always says, my kitchen, my rules. So if you're gonna get with a chef to work in some place, that chef will tell you, this is my kitchen and these are my rules. Don't you think, Chef? Chef Cliff, can you hear me?
Yes, chef. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was on mute. But yes, anytime.
Talking about my kitchen, my rules.
Yeah. No, anytime a chef, executive chef is there, it's going to be his kitchen, his rules. It's his ship, so he's going to sail it however he wants it, or he or she wants it, for sure.
So you're gonna get into an environment that it's some are more respectful, some are less respectful, but normally you have that straight level of authority that they want you to answer yes chef, no chef, and that's what makes us so special in the industry, and that's how close we get to the military. So the title chef is earned by many years of hard work, isn't it? It requires focus, it requires knowledge, dedication to food, and it also requires the skill, operational skills, menu planning, human resources, a lot of financial and management, a lot of marketing. You have to know how to run efficient business. That's what gives you, that pride to become a chef, So, and when somebody has that leader in front, they want that response, yes, chef, no chef. So when we get into the kitchen, we accept that responsibility, guys. We accept that system of respect. So when you ask also, when you say yes, chef, no chef, that means you really respect the person who are in front of you. And that's a sign of respect, and that's something that it works really, really, really good. And it's something that, do it because it's a sign of respect for the person who is in the chain of command. We have common goals in the kitchen. Every day the kitchen is filled with a need of common goals and the structure, and there is a philosophy around that. And that's always, we're trying to produce exceptional food. We're trying to exceed the expectation of the customers, build a sense of pride of what we're doing, and everybody works for that goal. So yes, chef also means we are together trying to pursue a common goal as a group. So it's not something that is trying to, yes, chef, no chef is not synonym of servilism, it's synonym of pride and common goals. So the thing is more important is when we work in the kitchens, we as a chefs, as a owners, as part of the management group, we're trying to hire the right people for the team. Strong people that have cooking skills and positive attitudes. Okay. So that means that everybody has to interact with the chefs and get their observations and ideas. There are chefs that are more participative on the way that they handle the kitchens. There are other chefs that are more authoritarians in the way that they do it. It depends on which kitchen you are, because every kitchen has their own rules. As I told you, it's my kitchens, it's my rules. That's how it works. It's exactly how it is in the military. Yeah, so it's yes, chef also is an important because it includes that level of involvement that you have, that you understand what's happening in the kitchen. So when you're gonna get into the kitchen next time that you go and you get into the kitchen and the chef said to you, do that, and you says yes, chef, the chef will be very proud to hear that words coming from you guys when you get into the kitchen. Decision making is that what we're going to get right now into the class. And decision making is a real interesting process to identify problems, gathering information to get a resolution, to get to a goal. So there is a process for that, there is a step-by-step process that you can make and deliberate to be sure that the organization are really, really taking the relevant decisions on the way that the company has to go. If you do that and you make these good decisions, they increase the chance, to success. So decision making is a very important part of the process, and it works in every level, guys. Not only on the management level, but in every level. So that's something that you have to understand. So when we get to the point of make decisions, there is 7 steps to success in that way to find a decision, And we have to make decision is because we have to identify a problem, and then we have to get a lot of information that is relevant to the decision that we're going to take. We have to identify the solutions, and then we have to access to all the evidence, it's like almost like a jury, isn't it? And then we have to choose the right alternatives, and then we have to take actions, and then we have to review if we're sure that the right decision that we make, it really is working. So there we are. So it's step 1, we have to identify a problem. So you really realize that you need to make a decision is because you really have a problem in front of you that needs to be addressed. It makes sense? You need to clarify, you need to define the nature of the decision, So first steps are very important. So the first thing is, what is the problem? What is the problem? It's a kind of a thought that is very critical. It's kind of an analytic thought that we have. And this is a complex brain process, you know, to solve something that is sometimes intangible. Um, so, and that is something that creates a lot of thoughts because we have to identify what is causing that problem. It's exactly as I told you. It's like a doctor, you know. We have a symptom, and we're gonna get, and we have to fix and say, these symptoms is a result of which problem. We have to identify the problem. So we have to determine the root cause of a problem, and the first and on the first step, I clearly identify what is. Maybe it's not just one problem. Maybe it's a few problems. It's more than one. So, and this is a process that says, you know, Albert Einstein used to quote it, you know, if I have an hour to solve a problem and my life depends on the solution, probably I will spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper questions, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. So there you are. So when we have to take a decisions, identify the problem is the most difficult thing to do it, because then at the end, when we know exactly what the problem is, take a decision is easy. It makes sense?
Yes, it does.
So there's 5 steps to identify the problem. So when we have a problem, we have to say, you know, what are the symptoms? It's like the doctors, what are the symptoms? And we put all those symptoms in this statement box. We're gonna put it there. Okay, so we have this and this and this, and then we have a process of brainstorming. Okay, we have this problem, and this problem belongs to this category, and this problem belongs to this category, and we have all these multiple problems here that make a whole thing a big problem. So this big problem is caused by small multiple problems, and these problems this is the root of these problems. Okay, so yeah. So we have to define exactly what is the root of the problem. And then we develop a consensus and says, okay, everybody agree what is the root of the problem? Yes, okay. Now it's identified. That problem is identified. We have to find a way to fix it. Step 2. We have to recollect relevant information. So when there is symptoms, we have to collect the pertinent information. What information is needed? The best source of information. How you weather. This stuff, you know, requires external work. You know, sometimes, you know, information is internal. It comes from inside. Sometimes it comes from outside. As example, if you have a problem because there is a variation on the inventories. So there you are. You have that. There is a problem here with the cost. Oh my God! So that's an external coming and says, "Chef, you have a problem with your cost." Okay, the chef is gonna say, "What is that? We have a cost problem. What can cause the problem?" So they get to the people and says, what can cause the problem? And says, okay, maybe we took the inventory wrongly. Oh, okay.
And that happens a lot.
Maybe we have losses. Somebody is taking food. Okay. What else? It says maybe it's the suppliers that is given us, you know, they changed the prices and we didn't know it, and that changed the cost. Or maybe is the cook that is not cooking properly the portions, and because of that is using more more elements. So we have all these elements in front of us. They are small problems that we have to identify. And then we have to, one by one, start making the brainstorming. And then until we find that, oh, the problem is not the kitchen. They're working fine. Okay, the problem is somebody take the inventory wrongly. There you are. So what is the root of the problem? We have in the department a person that is not well trained to take inventory. You see? So that is the real problem. And now we have to attack that. How do we fix it so that not happen again? You know what I mean? That kind of things, it's always happen when we have to get all that information. So there you are. We have to identify what's all these alternatives. As you collect information, you will have probably 7 possible path of actions, and you have to be sure that you are that those are the ones that the possible costs, you know, and what will be the actions. So then you have to identify the alternatives, you know. How we're gonna solve the problem? How we stop that we have similar problems on the future? How much is gonna cost to do that? How much is gonna affect that changes on the departments? All these changes that we're gonna fit with the company philosophy is legal, is ethical, all these questions, isn't it? So in the case of what we do, and it says, okay, what is the problem? We have a person who took wrong inventories. Okay, how that we stop have these problems happens in the future? And you start saying, okay, we want to be sure that we have a POS for that. Yes, isn't it?
For sure.
What is a POS, guys?
Point of sales.
So, so we need to have real, writing procedures well done. Procedures on that area. If they are not well established procedures on that area, we have to be sure we need to have procedures. So that will happen in the future. And what will be the procedures about what? About how to take the inventories and how these people who take inventories has to be trained before we did it, isn't it?
For sure. You've
So
got to train everybody before you do inventory.
Do that go to the company philosophy? Yes. So we don't have to fire the guy because probably it's not his fault, but also we have to talk with other people, isn't it? So who is his
Supervisor.
So supervisor. So we have to talk to the guy and says, why you do that to the guy? Put in a person who has no inventory experience to take the inventory. Why's the reason? And we want to be sure that that does not happen again, and everybody understand what's the policy without lose the respect of people, without become a Gordon Ramsay, isn't it?
That
Hell
is correct.
Kitchen, because Hell Kitchen is not going to work.
Not at all. That just creates more tension.
Yes. So, weigh the evidence, draw your information and emotions out on the side, and be sure that you have the real evidence over there, and be sure that you have this process is making in a very fair way, So, what are the alternatives to fix it? That is just one thing that you have to do. You have to do more than one thing. Maybe just choose one option to fix it. Not fix it completely. Maybe you have to take few steps to fix the problem. In this case, maybe you have to be sure that supervisors don't do that. Be sure that people are with training, be sure that everybody's aware the importance of the inventories, and the last thing, everybody knows how to take an inventory. There you are, take actions. So when we get and says, okay, now that it's happened, there is the manual, there is these things, everybody gets to the process. And we pass everybody to the process to understand the inventories. Maybe we're gonna get a little training processes on that. And at the end, we put very close attention to see what happened with the next inventories, if they are doing properly or not. So we really do a good, backup on that. And yes, and then when people take decisions, guys, be sure that you take the decisions, you have to live with the consequence of that decision, isn't it?
That is correct.
So make good decisions or bad decisions in life. So, and this is something, guys, that is hard to measure, because sometimes we have to take decisions, look in the future, and predict the future is the hardest thing to do. So we can regret decisions. It's easy to do, regret decisions, because we're talking about the past, isn't it? So I can say, I blow a business one time in my life, and I really regret that. Yeah, it's easy to say that. But how to avoid that this happen in the future, that's a real discussion. But
Yeah.
we are talking about something that is not happened yet. We're talking about to avoid something that is not even happened. So we're talking about a future. We're just speculating, isn't it? So the decision that we take on that speculation process that is completely abstract, when it comes to the effect, it will work. Let's see. Remember when we have the Catherine hurricane that affect Louisiana?
Or Hurricane Katrina.
Yes, Katrina. And
Yes.
then what happened with the dams, or I think it was the levees on that, they collapsed, isn't it?
That is correct.
And they know that this is something that it will happen. They know that will happen. So the problem is with the administration, they don't put the attention on what the future will be, and they don't correct these procedures to be sure that when the future comes, they have the right tools to contemplate the problem, to fix the problem, to solve the problems. Then Katrina comes, and it was a devastation, and they discovered that they don't really put attention to that problem properly. And when the problem comes, they were not prepared.
Yep.
So now we have another hurricane is coming again, and it's gonna hit, and they already built it nice and strong, levees, and they're gonna be proven. Right now they are preparing with the dam. They are really taking it very serious this time, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
they
for sure.
already suffer and how to hold the future. So that is something that is amazing, that you have to live with the consequence of the persons who really didn't take the decisions. They have to live with those consequences. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like today we said to the government, there is almost 200,000 people that die because of coronavirus. They have to live with that consequences.
Yep.
This is the thing. When the decision is made, it's already a decision. It's go and do it. You take that risk, isn't it? So what you want to do is, when you take a decision, what you want to do is minimize the risk. So you take a decision in your life, and you want to be sure that you minimize the risk. As example, I'm a father, and I have to take decisions on my family. And I have to say, do I have to risk or not? And sometimes when I was young, they offer me jobs and says, hey, you want to get this job? And I was, I have to think in my decision to say yes or not, because it is not affecting only me, it's going to affect my family, and I have to live with that. So more complication, isn't it, and take a decision into the future, because you are deciding not only your future, but your future and other people's future. And
For
that's
sure.
what happened exactly in the business. When you have to take decisions, you have to be sure that you live with the consequences. So I'm going to put this example that is incredible, but it's completely true, guys. Years and years ago, owner of a banker, they was the daughter of this millionaire that owns one of the biggest banks. And he comes to me and says, and this lady built a hotel, as a 170 rooms hotel for a business in the business center. And it was a business hotel created, you know, for people who go to the bank, to people who work with the banks and all that. And she says, you know, Pablo, I want you to come and become an executive chef of this hotel. It's, you know, it's not as such a good, it's only 175 rooms, but these are a good operation and we will pay you well for that. So, well, I went there and I get into the kitchen and I saw that they cut a lot of expenses trying to build these kitchens, and they make a crappy, you know, the hood that hold the extraction system was really cheap and bad, and it was so cheap that it was not pulling out. They don't make enough calculations, you know, how much air you're gonna take it out. So when you build kitchens, guys, we calculate what is the volume of air that you need to pull through the extraction. And when you pull it, it creates a vacuum, isn't it? So we want to be sure that also when you put air, fresh air inside, isn't it? And you want to be sure that the amount of air that you put in is less than the one that you pull it out. So when you open the door of the kitchen, the smells of the kitchen don't get into the restaurant, you know? What happens is you open and the air of the restaurant get a little bit into the kitchen, so that will happen. Another thing that you want to be sure is that you have enough extraction, so all the smokes and everything that is generated in the kitchen is really pulling out. So that was not happening. So the only way that it will, the cooks make it a little more efficient, the hoods, it's taking out the filters. Because when you take the filters out, of course you're going to have more extraction, because the filters already takes a little bit of that power of extraction. But with no filters, the hood, it's a problem. It's a hazard, isn't it? So I went there and I saw the filters, and it's like, that's a no-no. So I went to talk to the lady and says, you know, you have a problem with extractions, you know, and says, but I already put so many money on the extraction. And says, no, you need to get a better extraction, because you cannot, in the kitchen, they cannot work with the filters. You're going to have a hazard, and then you're going to have a fire. And I put inside my finger inside of the vent, you know, the square vents that pull it up, and it has, I'm not kidding, like a half an inch of fat over there that was already there. And then you have to need a person to clean that, and the filters holds down that fat, isn't it? All that, we have fat trappers, you know, that holds the fat, and you have to clean the hood so the fat doesn't get into the hoods. So,
and he's like grease, the grease. Yeah.
The grease, exactly. So, short history, less than a month later, I says, no, she says, no, I'm not going to do it. And I says, no, I'm not going to work. So less than a month after that, a fire in the kitchen, the fire gets to the hoods, and it runs like, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, burn a candle.
Yeah.
And it goes there, and, you know, and immediately start getting the smoke. The people in the kitchen, you know, start running out. Short history, there's a lot of dead people for asphyxiations and guests, and it was a disaster. The whole hotel getting burns. Then the firefighters come and finish destroying the rest that was okay, isn't it? Because the firefighters go, they don't care about nothing. They go through the windows and everything, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And they put water all over, you know, trying to fix it. So after the death of these people, and the day of that, the hotel has to close. So the woman don't take responsibility of the debts. So 6 months later, I'm on a cocktail launch, and this woman comes, and they were saying hello to everybody, and he saw me in front of me and says, "I'm not going to give you my, I'm not going to say hello with the hand. I'm not going to shake your hand because you are the cause of my problem." And says, "The cause? Why am the cause? Because you curse the kitchen." And that's why it happened.
Oh, you cursed the kitchen?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And I get so pissed off, Chief. And I start screaming the woman, and I tell her, that she kills the people that I was there, and the guy, she get very mad, and she has to leave. And I was walking beside her, screaming to that woman. And that was a disaster.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's crazy, Chief. So
And
that was in Guayaquil, Ecuador.
wow.
Damn.
Where was that at? Where was?
That was in a port of in a city of 2 million people, Jeff.
Really?
Big city,
Oh.
yes.
Wow.
So
That is horrible.
it's horrible. So next thing, I'm gonna this decision process is a mental process, is something that it works. And I'm gonna show you this video that is very interesting. I'm going to stop sharing this because this is a YouTube video. Before we get into a break.
Why aren't they saving?
There you are. Let me connect so you can share the screen with you guys.
We could just put this one in.
It's not showing, Chef.
That showing? Let me go.
No. Oh, there you. Yeah.
Let me go again and hear it. What about now?
I think it's about to. Yes, it is showing now.
So I'm Mikael, I'm from Finland, and this is Roman, I'm from Switzerland.
Any way you can turn it up?
Huh? Let me again.
Can you turn up the volume a little bit?
That's it. Okay, let's go. Let's go do it. Ready?
Yep.
For tonight, we would like to start with a little test. It's a one-question decision test. Imagining the following situation. It's a Sunday night, you're home alone, and you ordered pizza
you opened up a good bottle of wine, and you decide that you would like to watch a movie. So you switch on to Netflix or whatever you're using, and you start browsing the different movies. Now, how difficult is it for you to choose a movie? You have to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 meaning I have no problem at all. 10 meaning it takes me until the morning to choose a movie. I give you 3 seconds to pick a number. 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay. Everybody with a number from 1 to 5, please stand up. Okay, I would say that's 80%. Maybe, yeah. Please remain standing. For those of you who stand up, now this is a typical good news, bad news situation. Bad news is you're not quite as good a decision maker as the other group. Good news, however, you're quite happy with your not so good decision. Okay, you can sit down now. Now, everybody else from 6 to 10, please stand up and receive your verdict. So again, it's good news, bad news. Good news, you're better at decision making than the other ones. Bad news, however, even with your best decisions, you're not really happy because you ask yourself, maybe there could have been an even better option. Roman and I, by the way, we both struggle with decision making. He is an extreme, what are you, a 1 or a 2? Yes. And I'm not even on the chart. And we asked ourselves, why? Why is it that we find it so difficult to choose? Not only we, many in this room also. And why is it that we find it difficult to take decisions? And we looked into the research behind decision making and we wrote some books about it. And tonight, the next minutes, we're going to show you the 3 problems of decision making. Problem number 1, it's preparing. So it's the question of how do you prepare your decision, or what is your information strategy? We would like to illustrate it on 2 axes. You have the x-axis, which is the amount of information you need in order to come up with a decision, compared to the degree of confusion in your head that this information provokes. So what's the relation of confusion and information? It's an inverted bell curve. And that's what we call the TMI paradox, the too much information paradox. It works like this. If you have very little information, you feel confused. And if we are confused, our brain tells us, go get some information for me. So we start to research. And the more we know about any given topic, the more confident we feel to make a decision about it. But there's a tipping point. You can actually know too much. And I think we all have experienced that situation. It's the moment when you start questioning your own knowledge. Confused and until you don't know who you are and where you come from, and you feel unable to make a decision. And if you would look at brain scans from people who have too little information and those who have too much information, those scans look pretty much the same. And this too much information paradox can also be applied to other situations. The American scientist Sheena Iyengar did that when she looked at our behavior in supermarkets. she realized if we have too few choices, we don't like to buy anything. Because we ask ourselves, maybe there's another shop with more stuff. If we, however, have too many choices, we like to look at things, but we feel overwhelmed. We experience what she called the choice overload problem. And according to her theory, there is obviously a right amount of items the human mind likes to choose between. I think that's approximately somewhere between 3 and 6. So that's the amount we like to choose between.
But life is not a supermarket.
Now, if it comes to the really, really big life-changing decisions, so the things that really matter to you, when do you know that you know enough?
And that brings us to the second problem of decision making. It's the timing. It's also referred to as the OMG-TIU problem. And all the TED talkers know that one, having this countdown clock in your face. It's the, oh my God, time's up problem. And again, we would like to illustrate it on 2 axes.
Now, the older we get, the more we know. So maybe we can say at the end of our lives, we can really tell at the end of our lives, we can actually tell what was a good decision and what was not such a good decision in our lives. We might tell at the end of our lives, it was a good choice to pick that job, and it was maybe not such a good choice to marry that person. But the problem with life, as the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard said, it can only be understood backwards, but unfortunately, we have to live it forwards. So we can't take all the big decisions at the end of our lives. We have to take them early on at a stage where we know very little about the outcome of these decisions. The problem with early decisions is that the consequences are very huge. And let me explain that to you with a little metaphor. It's a little bit like archery. If you shoot and you aim at a goal, and now you just move a little bit to your right, that arrow will fly many, many meters to the right. But if you stand directly in front of a goal, or so to speak, if you're at the end of your life or at the end of a project, and you make the same movement, this hardly changes the goal. You will hit exactly the same spot. So the decisions that are taken early on have way bigger consequences.
This chart of 2 Danish organizational theorists brings us probably to the core of decision making, and that's uncertainty. If we have to take decisions early, we don't know what their outcome will be. That's in the future. And just think it through. If you would be 100% sure of something, then we wouldn't talk about the decision any longer. Then it's just a fact, an imperative. So there's nothing to decide. You just have to act. And that brings us to the third stage of a decision. It's regretting it. So it's the point of view. It's the retrospective. You decided, and now it's the question of how you live with your decision. And we like to call it the PDF, the post-decision feeling.
Now, post-decision, you can measure that with 2 parameters. One is how happy you are with your decisions compared to how much you expected from the decisions. And this is a fairly simple concept. One can say, the more you expect of the decision, the happier you get if this decision turns out to be good. But again, there's a tipping point. You can often expect too much your decisions. That's when you try to aim for the perfect decision. And perfection is something that I think we all strive for. We all would like to have the perfect job or the perfect partner. Roman and I would like to do the perfect TED Talk tonight. But the longer I'm up here on stage, the more I feel maybe perfection. Maybe perfection is a little bit like Nessie, the monster from Loch Ness. It's rumored to exist, but no one has ever seen it.
Now, remember the test we just did 5 minutes ago. What was your number?
Those of you who scored under 5, you would be on the left side here. It's called pragmatic decision-making style, or as scientists put it, you are a satisfizer. Satisfizer is a word combination out of 2 words. You can say you're satisfied with the decision, but it also comes from the word suffice, so enough. You realize it wasn't maybe the perfect decision, but the decision was good enough. Those of you who have scored over 5 are what scientists call maximizer. They try to maximize your decision and make the absolute perfect choice, so you aim for little Nessie up there.
Now, preparing, timing, regretting, it's like kind of 3 phases or 3 stages in the decision-making process. And now we try to sum them up in one drawing. That's why he does the talking and I'm drawing.
I'm a pragmatist. Now, if we look at these 3 problems and we try to translate them into questions, we could ask yourself, do I know enough? Secondly, is this the right moment for a decision? And then we have the third difficult question. What if Nessie exists?
No.
So this is the retrospective, regretting question. Could there have been a better option? Now, all of these 3 questions deal with the uncertain, because the answer to the questions only lie in the future. And the future, as we heard today all day, it's invisible. We will never know what will happen. So when it comes to decision making, how do you deal with the unknown? There is a guy who thought he knew the answer to that. And he himself took some poor choices in life, but he had a very interesting approach to decision making. I'm talking about former US Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. During a press conference, he once said that unknown questions, the future, have 2 parameters. We only have the known and the unknowns. And Roman and I translated this now into a little matrix. So what we have is the known knowns, the things we know we know. It's very simple to make those decisions. You just know what to do. If you're afraid of burglars, lock the door. Now, but there are also the known unknowns, the things we know we don't know. So these are things we know will happen, but we, for example, don't know when they will happen or how. The perfect example for this is maybe the stock market. Everyone knows they will go down once in a while, but no one knows when this will happen or how hard it will crash.
Then we have the unknown knowns.
The things we don't know, we know. Most researchers agree that there is a thing in us that knows more than we actually think we know. And you can call that intuition or inner voice or gut feeling or blink, as Malcolm Gladwell put it. it's the thing that gives you a good feeling when you decide. And when it comes to decision making and intuition, you could say that we all make bad decisions. But those bad decisions that we make intuitively, we regret less than those we did rationally. So human beings tend to forgive their gut more than their head.
The unknown unknowns.
So the things we don't know, we don't know. Donald Rumsfeld explained this with Pearl Harbor. The Americans weren't prepared because they didn't know that the Japanese could attack with kamikaze pilots. A more recent example for this could maybe be 9/11. And 9/11 and Pearl Harbor are just examples for this, what we call black swans. So the concept that we didn't expect something. Before the first black swan was discovered, no one has ever thought about it. But once it was there, it seems quite logical.
My limited drawing skills. That's a swan. So what's the takeaway?
Now, I would not recommend that you should hire Donald Rumsfeld as your chief decision maker. However, I think it's interesting to think about the question he raises. When do you take the time to think about the unthinkable?
And with this little brain teaser, we would like to send you home. And thank you very much, TEDx Danubia Foundation. Have a great evening. Thank you.
That was good.
I hope you find awesome, as I find that that's a great thing, guys. So right now is 11:53. Let's take 15 minutes and we come back at 12:10. What about that, Chef?
Sounds great.
Everybody back up
12:10.
12:10, please.
Richard, unmute yourself so I can hear you play. There you go. I wanted to hear you play.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah, no, my one of my acoustic strings broke, so I had to go to my electric.
Oh, okay.
So I just mess around with it. Like, I mean,
Oh.
on my acoustic, I did this one. But on my electric, I can make it higher pitched just by
Gotcha.
going down the stem of the guitar. And
Tennessee Whiskey. Love that song.
yeah, it's actually really cool because, like, you can do a bunch of things like that. Like, I've taught myself how to do a bunch of them. Like, with the Seven Nation Army, you can do it from anywhere, basically. It's mainly... But if you want it to be higher, you can.
Gorillas too? Oh, it's Seven Nation Army, right?
Right.
Yep.
This one's not really known, but... So, I found...
Nice.
That's right.
Did you teach yourself how to play, or did you?
Oh my god. Why is that sound off? That's louder than I wanted it to be. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh, is this another script? Yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. That's so hard. I want to do it. Yeah, now I'm doing harder though. Nope. They're all gonna be like that. So no worries. Now maybe some would say your life is sad. 4 minutes. Ow, that's loud. I have a spare. I forget this. Dusty. Now you see, Chef, I forget I have my first guitar still, which is still an acoustic. So this is what I learned. It's blue, and I'm proud of it. It's just
That's awesome.
oh my Jesus! Did my sister mess with you? Because you are out of tune like crazy. There it is. Where's the fucking bass right? Now maybe I didn't mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. Now maybe some would say your life is sad, but you lived it anyway. So maybe your friends, they stand, they watch you crumble as you fall to the ground. And then someday your friends, they stand beside as you were flying. Oh, you were flying oh so high. But then someday for what they call their own. They watch you suffer. Yeah, they hear you calling home, but then someday we can take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can reach us. But you left me far behind. Now, maybe I didn't mean to treat you oh so bad, but I did it anyway. Where am I? Oh. Now, maybe some would say you're left for what you had, but you couldn't shed the pain. No, 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 couldn't shed the pain. They watch you suffer. Now maybe I could have made my own mistakes, but I live with what I've known, and then maybe
Chef Cliff,
Yes.
so how many people? A lot of people missing today, isn't it?
Yes, I'm just doing that right now.
We have only 22 students.
We had 27 when they showed right at the very beginning.
Guys, please, can you show yourself when you're coming back so we know that you're here?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hello. Okay, guys. Then, guys, the ones who are incorporating right now, show yourselves so I can see that you're back here in the session, please.
All right, so everybody just turn on your thing for just a second and so we can see you, and then we'll
I'm here.
yay.
I don't know if you can see me. My screen's frozen, but I'm here.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Hey, how are you, Larry?
So we still have 3 people
I'm all right.
incorporated, Chef.
Could you say that one more time, Chef?
We still have 3 persons that are not here.
Aaron? Aaron?
Kaden and Joshua.
Yeah. Joshua, you there? Keton? There we go. All right, I'll send him a message, Chef.
Thank you, Chef. Can you see the screen, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I can't.
So that was an interesting video, isn't it? How we process decision, and that's something that is just how the brain works and how we are. So just I want one question: which one of you guys are here for pastry? Raise your hands or thumbs up.
I think these are all culinary.
And for culinary, thumbs up. The ones are for culinary arts.
Yeah.
Okay. The majority. Okay. So one of the big problems, guys, that I found working in this industry And especially when you get into kitchens and there is unprofessionalism in the kitchens, is that you have a boss, you have a chef, you have a supervisor that is trying to micromanage your skills, your work and things like that. And that's the most annoying thing, isn't it? Did you have somebody that micromanager you guys? You have some experience with that? Has to talk with us?
Micromanaging is one of those things I don't particularly like. Anybody in middle are been micromanaged,
but not in the culinary industry, in the manufacturing, production, and shipping industry. I mean, that's when I had that, but not in the culinary.
Yes, and Christopher.
I mean, just last night, while I was working my shifts, I was working with a new manager, and she would just keep walking over to see exactly what I was doing all night.
Oh no, that's
so micromanaging you that way.
Bet that got annoying.
Yeah. So when somebody's on your back trying to like sneeze on what you're doing, it's really suffocating. It's that feeling, that is not right. It's somebody's. It's like the person is not trust on what I have to say. What I have to work, and because it's like I don't feel that they are trusting me. I don't feel that they are think that I can do well, and that lacks my confidence, or like piss me off if something like this happened. So micromanager is very, very common in this industry, but not because it's common, that means it has to be okay. So it's something that sometimes we saw and we accepted that kind of things like another, but I think it's not right, isn't it? I think in the majority of the cases, when somebody is just behind you and this is like that, in many cases, it's a symptom of weak leadership, it's a symptom of somebody that has no confidence in himself and trying to prove it, so yes. So, and what happened with these people that are trying to do that, what happened is, they avoid to delegate, but they sneeze on you, but they avoid to delegate, They are constantly trying to make reports and things like that. They take out the responsibility of their hands, It doesn't let you make any decisions because they want to be the ones who take any decisions, And it's a constant complaining that you're not doing well, And there is very little interest in monitoring what you're doing. They're just behind you, trying to disturb your work, And what I saw is, these people are trying to. They're in front of the trees. Don't let them see the forest. And when you're trying to talk, they don't hear you. It's like they are completely deaf to any petition or observation or whatever it is. And what happened is that kind of things, drag the projects forever because that person is an anchor. It doesn't let them move to anybody. And that's something that should never happen. So we shouldn't micromanage. Don't micromanage, please. This is something that we shouldn't do it, isn't it? And we shouldn't suffer from that.
Yeah, and some people said on the chat, very uncomfortable when you're being micromanaged. And I agree, because when you're just, someone's watching your every move, no matter what, they're going to find something that they don't like or they don't want or whatever else. So, and micromanaging is it puts a lot of pressure on the employee, and they get flustered and could make a lot more mistakes because you're micromanaging them.
And guys,
anyway.
what would be the opposite of micromanaging? I want to hear your opinions, guys. What will be the style of managing that is completely opposite to micromanagement?
I would think maybe training first, and then let them show them, how they do in the work situation, and then, what I'm saying, let them, work after that. You know what I'm saying? Not, after the training, still go behind them and still, what I'm saying, oh, you still need to do this and you're doing this wrong. Just let them work.
Yeah. So that will be one set. Have good. I would say set standards of procedures, isn't it? And do well training. That's one thing. Yes. Who else? Very good, Joshua. Guys, I want to hear your opinions.
Just being very laxed, too laxed.
What is the 6-inch ribbon? What does that mean?
That was from a movie. It was called, had Will Ferrell in it.
It's from Elf.
The Elf.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes. It's the scene where they're in the,
I know exactly what you're talking about now.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
So guys, give me example of the opposite of micromanagement. Go ahead, work, guys. Raise your hands.
What do you think?
I want to see more participation.
Let's see. Being too trusting to your employees. Derek wrote. They can take advantage of you if you're very too trusting.
Well, I mean, and that's a good point, but I would think, what I'm saying, if you would have hired the person, there's a reason you hired them. So there's a reason you trust them.
Yeah.
So
yes.
There's a reason not to micromanage all the time.
So guys, this is the thing, you have to, this is like the law, isn't it? You are a good person until you prove the opposite. It's not the wrong thing that says you are the wrong person until you prove me that you are right. It makes sense? So there should be a sense of completely trust when people go to work, isn't it? But the problem of micromanage is leadership, isn't it? So you need to change completely the style of leadership. It has to be something that it has to be more open, isn't it? More friendly. It has to be more participation. It has to be more teamwork, isn't it?
Yeah. And has anybody ever worked in an atmosphere where they are there is not much teamwork and there's not good management? And in these situations, you really need to micromanaging can be over too much. It can be too much for the employee. Feel like you're a kindergartner, you're in grade school. They need to kind of do their own thing and get it done. You don't have to always, but I always say trust but verify. Trust but verify. You always want to trust your employees, but you want to verify to make sure that everything is done correctly. What do you think about that, Chef? Trust but verify?
Yes, I think trust and verify is something that is the right thing to do, isn't it? Yeah. So so we have to understand first one thing. It's impossible to expect that the leadership is the only person who's going to take decisions, isn't it? That's the wrong thing that's the wrong way to think. Just one person is going to give orders to everybody, says what to do. That's wrong, and I'm completely with Joshua in that. If they hire you properly, you just let them do your work. And if you do your work good, it's going to be awesome. Another thing is, the persons who are on the jobs, guys, that's what we learn through the process of working and through experience. They know more than the supervisors how to get better with their jobs, because those are the ones who are there on the trenches, doing the hard work. So when you have to fix something, you should ask them first, isn't it? How can do better? So you really have to have, you know, open ears to people who, or a system with, you let everybody to come and give ideas of how to improve. Don't you think?
For sure.
So, and that happened when the supervisors are not the only ones who take the credit for what happened in the business. Everybody should be part of that credit, isn't it? So,
sure.
another thing is, that was amazing, you know, how to delegate the things is, and this is a history of Napoleon, you know. They come with a lot of problems with Napoleon and says, Napoleon, you have all this amount of problems. And he let it sit for 2, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And he has the idea, you know, that after 5 days, if they are not fixed by themselves, you know, now they need some help. But what happened is they get into panic, and then, you know, they try, hey, we need to fix it. When you really can, everybody can fix themselves the problems that come in front of them. So it's like, you know, protective parenting, isn't it? When you,
For sure.
How many of you guys here are parents? Raise hands.
Got a couple, 2, 3 that I see.
Okay, there are more. So there's a handful of people here that we have their parents. And the thing is, you know, when you're parents, you have this, you know, you don't want your children to suffer, but at the same time, you want them to pass through the experience, isn't it? So like, they have to get in, they have to jump on the bicycle. They will fall, isn't it, at the beginning, but they have to experience that to learn how to ride the bicycles, isn't it?
For sure. They
So,
got to get hurt a little bit.
So what I don't want to do is put it on the bicycle and push them, and there you go. But, you know, I will try to, before they get into the bicycles, I want to be sure that they understand how the bicycle works and what they can do to get into the bicycle and all that. So as parents, also we have all that, you know, we're trying to let the children go and let it work by themselves, and then take decisions on the family. Like, you know, my father was a son of a military. So the only person who take decision on the family of my father was my grandfather, isn't it? And was, you know, you have to do that. It was an order. For my father, he was raised like that, and he tried to raise me on that way, you know. An order from him was an order. And that was in the 70s when I like, you know, why? And I was always questioning him, you know, why are you doing it? I says, because I'm your parent. I'm not get it. If you don't give me a good reason, I'm not gonna do it, you know? Yeah. Just because you tell me because I'm your parent, no, that's not a good reason. So then when I had to raise my children, I was completely the opposite, you know? I want them to raise and give them all the reasons and give them all the things and learn, you know, the things, let them take the decisions or not. If they want to go to a party, they come and says, you know, I want to a party. Okay, what's the reasons, how it is, the safe and everything, they have to think it. So I don't have to think for themselves. They can do it by themselves and be sure that they are responsible. So that kind of thing, you know, is the same when you get to delegations. At the beginning of my careers, I used to be a micromanaging everything, you know, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of my career, I was completely more open environment, you know, be sure that, you know, everybody knows what to do, that we have implemented enough system of procedures over there, SOPs, and enough training to the people, you know. And the most important thing is what Joshua said, you have to hire the right person for the job, isn't it? A person who really wants to help you. And, you know, yes, and that's what I always say is if you are well prepared to a kitchen, you know, any chef will hire you because, you know, it's a help. And then if you come with ideas and everything, it's just a plus. So delegation, instead of give them direct orders, that's something that is we're talking about, you know. Delegation is a different than just directing, isn't it? So delegation, what do you think is the difference between delegation and directing, guys?
Anybody want to try what is delegation versus just giving someone an order? Delegation. Oh, go ahead.
When you sort of decide with someone why they're doing something and like they understand the reasons that they're doing something rather than just telling them to do something, then they'll find more meaning in it rather than just telling them to do something.
Absolutely, Bella. Cameron, you have to say something?
It's like when you give someone a reason to do something versus like versus like directions, which is just it's just direction.
Yes. Avery Woodwell?
For me, delegation's a lot about sharing responsibility, not putting too many tasks on one person and delegating everything that needs to be done to your team, not one specific person on the team.
For sure.
That's why a lot of like either fast food restaurants or I've never worked in like a normal restaurant, but at my previous job we had shift leaders, and so each shift leader would have to delegate their responsibilities to the other shift leaders that were working at the time. It wasn't just put on that one shift leader.
Yes, so that's correct, So when you have a system of delegation, it's a system that you share the responsibilities. So, and when you want to share the responsibilities with other people, it's because you trust them and their judgment, isn't it? So you know that these people are well prepared to do that. So yes, I'm completely good with this. I agree with you guys. That's what it is, isn't it?
For sure.
So so that they making decisions on the field, it's a process that requires a teamwork. So everybody has to take decisions in their own work, isn't it? So the most simple jobs on the kitchen, like dishwashers and this, they have to take decisions too, isn't it? So, and you have to let them do that, and then you go to the same as the apprentice, and then the cooks, and then the lines, and then the sous chef, and then the chef has to have their own decisions. But if everybody have their own things, what you have to do is that when the chef come, they give it the basic directions, isn't it? It doesn't go to the micromanagement and says, this is what it has to be done, and everybody know what to do in their own fields because they share their responsibilities. Yes, that's something that is happening. So, and when there is the opposite is when there is problems coming, isn't it? When there is problem coming, I always have in my office on the door of my office is, are you coming with a problem or are you coming with the solution for the problem? So when somebody comes to my office and says, hey, chef, and says, is a problem or is the solution? And, no, it's a problem. Go ahead, because I'm not here to fix your problem. You have to fix your problem. You come here with solutions. People have to be more proactive and be sure that, so that they have more active participation, and has to be more responsible in what they do. And what do you think, Joshua? I think you agree when I'm talking.
You're on mute.
I mean, yeah, you got to be responsible for what you're doing and, what you're, everything, what I'm saying? So, I mean, everything what you're saying, I'm agreeing, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I for sure, because as a manager, you're trying to deal with other problems that you're dealing with on a regular basis. But if your line cook comes up and says, hey, there's a problem, I would say, okay, hey, why don't you figure out, you come up with the solution, and then you bring the solution and the problem to me all together, and we can kind of work it out. Because honestly, if it's your station, if it's your grill station or your saute station or whatever it is, you know more than I would as a manager, right?
Yes.
So you know more about your station than I do. So you can come up with those more, come up with a solution probably easier than I would be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
'Cause just like y'all said, you know what I'm saying? Because like where I'm working, well, I'm working at Pluggers right now, you know what I'm saying? And we're doing fryers and grills and all that stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? If everything, you know, if anything goes wrong and I'm working on the fryers, you know what I'm saying? I have to shut down the fryers, or I have to clean the fryers, or, you know, do whatever I have to do. And, you know what I'm saying? We have to, you know, we have 4 different fryers. So we have to, you know, do one at a time. So the other 3 can be running at, you know, a certain time. Well, if I take that to the manager when they're trying to do purchasing or when they're trying to do anything else, you know, how are they going to do their job when they're trying to do my job at the same time?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And they're going to get mad at me for not trying to give them a solution when, you know, I'm giving them a problem. So, you know what I'm saying? If there's a problem, yes, shut down the machine and do what we have to do, notify the manager, but bring them a solution instead of just a problem where they have to deal with the problem and, you know, their stuff also.
Yes,
that is correct.
The only thing that you have to be careful is that your doors are open for dealing with real problems that needs to be fixed. So let's see, you know, if the guy come, you know, chef, we have a fire, then you have to act, you know. You're not going to say that, hey, fix your problem. Yeah. So this is, so you have to be careful that, you know, the doors are already open, always be open, you know, to things that are important. So
for sure,
you cannot be, you have to, there's a short, I will say, door, you know, that to the point that you can be sure that people understand that the doors are open all the time if you're a supervisor, you know, to solve things, even that they need to do the wrong thing. So yeah, so delegation, you know, you give the powers to others, you know, which is nice to give powers to others, because this is a kind of a teamwork, isn't it? So, and there is a scale of responsibilities, and that power has to go with the responsibilities of everybody, you know, and be sure that everybody get their own thing, be in the range of responsibilities that they have. So yeah, so you don't have to be, you know, try to go and get behind every task or every person, you know, because you're gonna put that person in a position of inferiority, and that is very bad, because the person is gonna be pissed off and it's gonna really, really, you know, sabotage your operation. And what you need to know is, with the responsibility come accountability, isn't it? So if you have the responsibility, you need to be sure that you're accountable for that, isn't it? So if you have the fryers over there, I count that those fryers has to be working nicely and efficient, you know, and everybody's working, doing their job. So I want to know that they know how to work, how to fish, how to run their processes, and everything goes smooth. So there you are. So there is ups and downs. There is downside and upside on delegation, guys. The upside of delegation is, you know, big team strength. So people who works in teams and are delegated, they are more strong. You know, they have more sense of community. You know, they have more pride. Increase the commitment of the people. You know, increase the volume of ideas to fix problems and or get better on the workplace, you know. And another thing is, on these kind of things, you know, the teams has opportunity to stretch and grow, and they learn that there's not only one way to fix a problem, because people have different approaches, and that's what makes so beautiful this business, you know. There's not only one way to fix one problem. If you can with people, you discover that there's an amazing way to fix problems, and there's just incredible. I learned that, I saw one day a person, who was cleaning this fish, and it was amazing how he do it, and he teach me, and it was like, whoa, mind blowing. And you have to be open to learn all the time, because from the people who are working, you learn all these things. The downside is for the supervisor, sometimes they are doing things in the way that you don't want it, but at the end, there's good results, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they can slow down a little bit things, but that can increase the group work. Remember that we talk of these guys and says, the guy was saying, if I had to do cocktails, they can count just with one person who do the cocktails, but no, he liked to do the cooperation. They put a team to do it. And what happened is they create a sense of pride, isn't it, when everybody was involved. The downside for the supervisor is that he will not be recognized for the efforts. It's going to be recognized that the team. So this is something that I consider, it's a merit if your teamwork is not necessarily has to you as a person has to be recognized, or take the there's a lot of people that think, now that I'm a boss, I'm out of the fun, so I don't have to do these fun things because I'm the boss, and I would love to do fun things, And let me tell you, as a teacher, it happens sometimes with me, and I'm in the kitchen, see the guys working, and I get into the kitchen and say, look, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that. And one day the students say, Chef, let me do my way, Chef. Don't cap yourself. And I was trying to micromanage you. Yeah. So yeah, even when we teach, sometimes we have to be careful that don't do that, isn't it?
For sure, because I do that occasionally too.
Yeah, because you want to be part of that fun, isn't it?
Yes.
Enjoy what you do because we love so much and we want to be there, on the trenches, trying to do the work. But it's not your time. Let them do that.
Mm-hmm.
So when to delegate things is important to see. What things you can delegate and what things you shouldn't delegate. Guys, there you are. What are the things that you should delegate and what are the things that you shouldn't delegate? Joshua, since you're part of this conversation. If you're a supervisor, what you shouldn't delegate?
Well, not any of my managers or any of my supervisors' jobs. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you don't want to do the job of others.
It'll probably just be like food prep. Maybe, from where I'm working at, it could be making ranch dressing. It could be making blue cheese. It could be making, the fried pickles. It could be making the stuffed mushrooms. It could be, anything that requires prep. From the fried pickles to anything. We could be making the sauces. We could be making or helping with the fried pickles, or we could be doing the mushrooms, or with the ranch, or with the blue cheese, or it really doesn't matter. Whatever we have to do, we just have to do.
Yes. So delegate, we have to be very careful that we don't give to the people, make them works that correspond to what they have to do. It makes sense? So everybody has a limit of work and they have to work on their limits. So because it's easy to delegate and says, okay, you have to do this and that and that. Hey, that's not my job, They're going to feel that we are abusing of the system.
Yeah, like you can't tell a dishwasher, go hit the line cook or go hit prep cook, You can't do it like that unless they're trained on both stations or something like that. But unless that, you can't do it like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't want to delegate, say, hey, my line cook, do a review for all, the end of the year review for my sous chefs or whatever else. You don't want to delegate any of the, like doing that sort of review or end of the year review or any of those sorts of things. You want to do that yourself.
Yeah, and we want to be sure when we delegate, yes, we train people to do the job. We have to let them work on their limit of their job. what is the job that they have to do, and that's where they have to do, and they have their responsibility. We cannot give them, responsibilities or things that are not part of their jobs. So that will be, very risky, because they can do wrong, and it's not because they are not. We try to make them responsible for things that they shouldn't be. There is some strategies, guys, to do better this, So when we have to delegate, we have to practice few things, First, we have to learn to let it go, isn't it? So you are the boss. You cannot do everything. So you take out of the brain that you have to do everything. So the first step of delegate is let it go. They will do it, and they are prepared for that, isn't it? So you have to really establish a firm priority system. What is the things that are important, and what are the most important responsibilities, and then the next and the next and the next. And you have to play with your workers' strengths. So let them work with what people know how to do it, and they will do it better, isn't it? Don't try to weak the person, make them do things that they are not able to do it. Work with their strengths, isn't it? Because we know for sure you're gonna get the best of them. And second, and the next thing is, be sure that they have enough instructions on what they're doing. So be sure that that's enough training, and then enough procedures, isn't it? You have to establish procedures. And those procedures has to be written, they have to be part of the operation and manual, and they need to know what to do. And then you have to trust on the people, and what we call trust and verify, and we have to trust, and how to verify it is easy, Have you ever get into a fast food chain, and you open the bathroom, and they have a little chart in the back of the bathroom, they have some signatures over there?
Yeah, for the bathroom attendant, like who's checked the bathrooms?
Yes.
Yes.
So that kind of, they have that. So if the supervisor want to come and check, they don't have to ask them. They go and check, and you see the signs of how many times have you go there, and how many times they check the things, And there's a lot of that in the kitchens, to make sure that everybody knows what to do, and they do it. The chef, the supervisor don't have to be back. And then, we're going to use a little of feedback, isn't it? There's two kinds of feedbacks. Feedbacks of third people, feedbacks of people who are surrounded you, and says, how is he doing? Isn't it? Is he doing well? Yes, chef, he's doing great. He's doing well. Can he know what he's doing? And also feedback for the same person. How are you doing? How you think are you doing? I'm doing great, chef. I'm not so good, chef. I'm doing great, chef. I think we can do better this. So that kind of feedback is something that you can really count on, that, isn't it?
For sure.
So let's go one by one. Learn to go. The biggest problem of most of the bosses is let it go their own work, isn't it? Because we are so attached to the things, It feels that this is my baby. This project is my baby, and I want to be sure that my baby is coming good. So yeah, it's your baby, but people have to make their job, and they have their own responsibilities. So don't refuse to let the people do it. Let's just go. It's like the father. We have to be good fathers. Let's go. At some point, your children has to go to college. Let it go. Let it go. They will do it. If you train them well, if you teach them well, they will do well. So maybe let it go. It's gonna release the stress, because let me sure you are never in control of everything. You cannot be in control of everything, isn't it? If you think that you're in control of everything, in fact, you have no control of anything. So
that is so true.
That's the same thing. When I go to the kitchen, I made an interview and says, "What did you know?" And he says, "I know everything." That person knows nothing. It's the same thing. So learn to let go, you know, start delegating the smallest process, you know, then you start gradually giving more and more responsibilities to people. So when, especially when they are new, you don't want to get them full responsibility of everything, you know, start little by little so the people get more confident in what they're doing and he feel that we give them more and more responsibility of their works. So that just come and get into the kitchen and says, okay, whoa, all these you have to do, maybe it's too much, isn't it? You have to be very careful of that. Trust is everything on this, guys. So baby steps and trust on the people. You have to trust that everybody is doing well and everybody is competent with the work until they prove they're the opposite, you know.
For sure.
So and always remember, you know, if the employee fail, the real person who failed is you to hire that employee, isn't it? So if you want to have somebody working there, you have a huge responsibility, and be sure that that person that you hire is well trained and doing well and feel happy. That is your responsibility. When you hire somebody, you putting the life of that person in your hands, guys. It's not just a number. It's a human being that is working. So I'm gonna give you a nice example of how this works sometimes, because I'm a visual person and have to see the things sometimes to understand them better.
I am too.
One moment, please.
Take your time.
Hey Cameron, is your fan moving that slow or is it just my video?
I think it's actually that now. Did you see the camera? Did you see the video, guys?
Now we do.
Okay, there you are. Can you see it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
But we cannot hear it.
Hey,
Oh,
John,
now we can.
are you finished with that project analysis report?
Can
I
you
saw
hear
on
it?
Jeremy's desk. You said you're still
Yes.
working on it.
Finishing it right now. It would have taken too long to get Jeremy up to speed on this project, so I decided to do it myself. I should have it ready for you in about the next hour.
Okay. But we just need it by close of business so that we can review it before the client meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
I know. It'll be ready. Don't worry.
Hey, John. Mr. Fujiyama's on the line for the third time today. He said he really needs to talk to you. Can I forward him to Marie? She is the lead on his project.
No, Teresa, I really need to handle Mr. Fujiyama myself. He's a very important client. Tell him I'll call him back in 1 hour.
Okay.
Hey, John, you ready to go to lunch? I don't have time for lunch today. I am too busy. I know we were going to discuss the meeting with the IBT group tomorrow, but... It's okay. I already put talking points together. You want to see them? No. Actually, I think you should use mine. I wrote these down in the Starbucks line. Use these. Sorry, I wasn't able to text them to you on the phone, but I was talking with a client. Okay.
John. John.
John. Sorry, I was just resting my eyes. What time is it? Oh no. Oh no. It can't be 3 already. What am I gonna do?
John, calm down. What's going on here?
Well, I was up late last night working on these projects, and I guess I just fell asleep. I can't believe this. I try as hard as I can, but I just can't seem to keep up. And I feel like I've only had about 2 hours sleep since I got promoted a month ago. Oh no, and I still have to call Mr. Fujiyama back.
John, come into my office and we'll discuss this further.
Well, no, really, I can explain everything, please. I mean, I know you hired me because I'm the guy that gets things done. I still am that guy. I just need some time.
Okay, take a deep breath and come into my office. We need to talk about delegation.
So that's a good example of
how not to do.
Not to do, yes, exactly.
And, you know, I mean, we all think we do projects, you know, we do things the best when, you know, it's your stuff, you think you're going to do the best, but you do need to delegate, because if not, it's going to just.
Sorry, Chef.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I'm just putting another video.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a tips for delegating effectively.
Nice.
Okay, there you are. Can you see it?
Yes. Feedback is so important.
Yeah, feedback is very, very important. Okay, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's keep going. So we should establish a strong priority system, and this priority system has to be based in the nature of the task that you want to delegate. So be sure that you know that the person that you're going to delegate, that person will be able to handle that task that you want to delegate. So, and that depends on the expertise that you want. So you have to start for the simple things to more complicated, isn't it? So, and be sure that you will start with the simple, finish with the more complicated things. And finally, you have the most complicated things that you just keep it for yourself. You should do it, but at the end, as a good supervisor, what happens if you get sick or something? Somebody has to do it. So you should start training somebody to become also a supervisor like you are in some point. Like it's the only way to be sure that the company it's moving, through a process of getting better and better. People need to have opportunities. So the system should be built in a way that the more complex task it's going to be for less and less people. So the less complicated, more people, more complex, less people, because it requires more and more understanding and practice. So, but everybody should have the opportunity to get to that point, isn't it? It's like tracking mountain. It's like climb the mountain. You don't want to be the only one to climb the Everest. You have to leave the opportunity to other training, to be others to be able to do that task. So you have to play with your workers' strengths, so you know what the person is good for and they are not good for, and you have to challenge it a little bit, but you have to work with the things that they are really strong and what they can do, and give it a little extra. So always an extra mile, give him, a great opportunity to grow. And it's if a person has a challenge, also is good for them, because always a challenge, it makes her work hard. You have to be consistency also all the time. So let me tell you, if somebody come to my office and they know how I react, they know exactly that I'm that kind of person. So you have to be consistency with your words. Whatever comes to your words, you have to be consistent with that. Delegation is the same thing, isn't it? When you delegate, you have to be sure that you have that consistency with everybody, not just with you, some and others not. If you're going to start a system of delegation, it should be for everybody. Everybody should have the same opportunities, isn't it?
Yes, that is so true.
And the next thing is, SOPs. You need to establish, SOPs for whatever it is needed. So a system of procedures has to be put in place all the time, and that system of procedures is, be sure in black and white what is every task consistent on, and then you have to give that specific instructions to everybody and be sure that that person understands what it has to do and the consequence of not doing it, isn't it? So you can have that responsibilities.
Yeah, and just guys, you've got to be clear. You've got to have clear instructions for your employees, because if not, it might be all over the place. So you really need to have clear instructions for them to understand exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes, so that's the only way that you can make the things executed, with efficiency, because you know that the person is going to do it well. Somebody's writing something on the chat.
Someone just wrote, "I agree."
Okay, good. So teaching new skills, that's awesome. You know, we need to have that opportunity to everybody to learn new skills, isn't it? Because that's what give a challenge to the person, you know. There is always a way to improve in a company, isn't it? There is always way to improve. So we have to start with that idea that there is always one way or another to improve. And that improvement doesn't need to come from you, that are the supervisor, the head, or whatever. It can come from others, isn't it? So you have to have an open ears, an open heart, and let the ideas come to the table, and give them the, if somebody comes to the ideas, give them the how do you say, award the person who gave the ideas, and don't just take their ideas and say, oh, that's a great idea, and then it says, this is my idea, and that would be the wrong thing to do, isn't it?
Like taking other people's ideas.
Taking other people's ideas, that would be like really, really bad. So you have to give them credit for what they are doing to everybody who's working. Because at the end, it's not about you. If I work in a restaurant, it's not about me as a person. It's not about them as a workers. We are all together to make people happy, isn't it? So it's about our client, and everybody works on that field. So when we feel rewarded by our guests, the whole team get. But if something goes wrong, you will be the person who are responsible. So you have to be careful on that. I always say, what happens if there's a hair on the soup, and it comes the hair on the soup and says, I want to talk with the chef, there's a hair on the soup. Then you have to put your face, my friend. And you cannot say, hey, it's not my fault. It was I'm on a brick. The line cook is the one. Come on, guys. You were the one who do it. Say sorry. That's not going to happen, isn't it?
No.
Trust and verify is what Chef Cliff say, and me too, there's a trust and delegation, and so we allow the person to tackle with the work, always, make them feel the good because he's doing the best, don't afraid to, occasionally come and verify that the things are working, and he has to know that sometimes you're going to come and verify their job, isn't it? And there's many ways that you can verify, externally, or you can do it yourself. It can be by others, isn't it? So you want to be sure that there is this checking and balance on the work and responsibilities that people are given, and be sure that you verify that everything is coming clean and people are working. Yeah. So then feedback, the most important of the delegation process, because it works in both ways, don't you think, Chef?
For sure. Yeah, feedback, you need it from both ways, from the manager and to the worker that was delegated, or the group that was delegated. Because, if there's a problem, if not, you're going to fail. If there's no communication or no feedback.
Exactly. So if a person is doing a work and the person fell short, you have to come out and give it some, hey, when you criticize somebody, be sure that you have a positive criticism, not just a negative criticism. Don't you think, Chef?
Yes, I start off with the positive. And I put the negative in the middle, and then I put another positive at the end.
Yeah. So don't down the people to the point that they're gonna lose. They're gonna feel so bad about themselves.
Yeah, you don't want to degrade them or belittle them in that situation. If they didn't do it right, they need to understand what it was done wrong, but you don't want to treat them you know, in that situation of belittling or degrading somebody because
Yeah, but
they.
Also the opposite, the also, you know, the benevolence, the benevolism, you know, you don't want to hurt anybody, and because of that, you don't want to let them tell, you know, what was wrong, and so if you take a responsibility of something, you have to that responsibility go with all these things, you know. If you fail, you have to explain it, you know, what was why you was failing and all that. So and take responsibility of what you're doing, isn't it? So yeah. So in some point, if something is wrong, it's just wrong. You have to explain this is wrong, isn't it? It shouldn't happen.
Because if they don't know it's wrong, then they're going to do it somewhere else, and then, you know, I mean, so you need to explain exactly what was wrong.
Exactly. And there's something, you know, shared information is something that is very, very important. It has open windows, open doors, you know, to share ideas, to share thoughts, you know, on delegations and operations, you know. That's the only way that you can be sure that the ideas are coming, you know, and you have enough information, you know, and most important, how can you improve? How can you get better? Because the person who is doing the task is the one who can figure out how can do better something, isn't it?
Yes, that is so true.
So it's not easy. This is a process that is not easy, guys, because there is clear-cut cuts, you know, too soon to give us the expertise, but it's something that is a learning process. You start learning from your own mistakes, and that's how it works. So I can explain you that, you know, it's like how to be. There's no manuals to become parents, isn't it? There's no books how to be a good parent. You do it by committing mistakes and fix it, isn't it? It's the same thing on this. You know, you have to learn to become a leader. You have to learn to delegate, you know, and you should learn from your mistakes. But when there's mistakes, you know, you have to be sure that you take responsibility of that, isn't it?
For sure.
So this is the situation with the responsibility and leadership, isn't it? So you want a person to perform something, you know, so you can give it the responsibilities. They can do it by themselves with no durations. They know the goals and everything. They can do it, you know. Hey, facilitate an environment that they can hide ideas, you know. They can do something, you know. And always you should be storming, you know, explain the decisions that you're taking out or other takings, you know. Be very open, you know, and be sure that the directions are clear and everybody knows exactly what to do. And this is something that is a big black holes on the kitchens, guys, that, you know, just one person know what to do and what are the things. The rest has no clue. They are coming every day to work. There is no clue. They don't know nothing about the job. They don't know nothing about what's going on. So it's very important, you know, part of the leadership team is to be sure that the people who are know exactly what to do. They have direct, you know, leadership and direct information on what they need to do. And on my case, guys, that I've been running kitchens for so long, at the when the point that I learned to become a leadership is something that you lead with example and with ideas, you know, and I create this system of delegation that be sure that everybody have responsibility of their works, but as a team, not as an individual. So that's how it's, let me tell you, it blooms beautifully, the company. And we get to a point that we have these workshops, and we create this system of workshops that we get, and we have the opportunity to work with every space on the different area of the restaurants. And in this case was a hotel, and everybody put ideas over there, and everybody exposed their problems, and everybody says, you know, what was the trouble? So we get every day and says, okay, what happened yesterday? And we analyze, you know, we have this amount of customers. Why we don't have all the customers what are expected, as example? And then the team come and, oh, we have these reservations, but didn't come. What happened? Who was in charge of this? Where was the mistake? You see, so that's identify the problem. And then, okay, this is what happened. What was the real problem? You know? And then we identify the problem. Okay, when we're sure that this is not happening, so we want to be sure that everybody understands. And then there come people, you know, what happened? You know, we have a problem on the pool. What happened on the pool? That, you know, in some point, you know, one of the filters was not working, or we have a shock, you know, a light was broken. And okay, what do we do to fix it? So, and I couldn't fix it because we have no lights for the pool. Oh my God, they have a problem over there. Who's supposed to get?
Who's supposed to order the lights?
Sure that, yeah, and then we work on that, you know. And then other people come, Chef, I think it's, I think that we can do better on this. We were watching this, and I saw this, and I saw that, and why don't we do this and improve this and get into the bar and this thing, and we can change this and put this. Well, that's great ideas. Let's implement it. You know, how are we gonna go? Who get responsible? And we get, you know, okay, if you're gonna get a response, how is this gonna work? You're gonna be sure that we have a system on that, isn't it? And everything has to go with a system, and this is the way to grow, isn't it? So we establish this system that, you know, that we evaluate everything, and we know. And when we start the day, everybody knows. We saw, you know, this is what's going to happen today. This is the amount of reservations that we have. So we get together with the leaders teams, you know, and says, okay, this is go and communicate. And we have to be strong in this. We have to be sure that, you know, that and this and that and this and all these details of the operation. And they go exactly and know what they have to do every single day. And what happened is, you know, we have this idea. Every day we should improve something. Every day it has to be some improvement in the company. In anything, you know, we can do better, something that yesterday was not enough. And so we always put that idea. Sometimes was many things that we have to do. Sometimes was just one thing that we have to do. But the ideas come all the time, you know, how to improve and get better and better and better. And after 1 year, that operation, it was from day 1 to the day 300, you know, we can see that huge difference on the way that people are working and the situation of the company and the leaderships, not only mine, but the whole, you know, team that was working over there. That was amazing. When the owners comes and check, they were so proud, you know, and it was like, oh my God, the leadership is amazing, you know. And I don't come and say, oh, it's me, I'm the leadership, you know. It was the whole team. So that's the kind of thing that you want to see and share and be sure that every day gets better and better and better. And that system of delegation, it was beautiful. So because nobody wants to be, you know, I always say, you know, we're talking about poverty and says, you know, these people don't like to work. That's not true, isn't it? People don't have the opportunities. Nobody wants to be stupid, isn't it? Nobody wants to be stupid. Everybody wants to get better and better. Everyone wants to get a better future, get better opportunities. Come on, guys. So don't put the things out of context. We have to create a system where everybody has opportunities. That is how we built the country, don't you think?
For sure.
And we build the companies and we build ourselves also. So that's something that has to be like that.
They kind of went through what Abraham Lincoln said when you first started the meeting today, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, and I'm a believer. You know, I'm a true believer. You know that this is something that we can do it. You know, and that is use the best abilities of everybody, but you have to give them the opportunity to do it. And let me tell you this, you know, because this is a true experience. I was working in this island where it was full of tourism, and the island, because of the political situation, they get to the island a lot of poor people, and these people, we have a bunch of poor people living in this island, and there's no labor hand. So the owners of the business, the boats and everything that was working there, they import from other people, other islands, from mainland continent, all these labor hand to works in the islands. When there are these poor people that has no jobs and they live in poverty, and they don't give them the opportunities. So I went there to a school and I says, you know, why don't we build a culinary school here and we start teaching culinary arts to the children, to the poor children, so they can incorporate in all this business that we have, all these cruise ships and everything that works this, they can work as a labor hand and we can help to solve the problem. And I was, yeah, sure. They was thinking that I'm crazy, you know. So, and I went and I started discover that I can get, you know, a credit from Europe, from the European Union, and they give us, I'm not kidding you, they give us $500,000 kitchen equipment.
Wow.
$500,000 in kitchen equipments to put it in the school and a non-refundable credit, Chef. The only thing that we have to do is have 2 years to put all this equipment on the work. So I went to the school and says, the only thing that I need is that you give me a space to work. So yeah, they give me the space, and then the boxes start coming, you know, a couple of months later with all this amazing equipment that comes from Europe. And then how to operate. We need to find partners that you know, help to put money. And we start working and put our hearts on that. And one day this guy come, you know, this millionaire come to the island, and we were talking, and I love this island, we would love to help. And said, you want to help? We have this project. Why don't you start putting money and help us on this project? And says, yes, that's fantastic, I can do that. So he gave us $500,000. Not kidding, to start with the program.
That is awesome.
When we start the school, guys, what we say is, okay, the school is just for poor people, and these children has to work in the school, and they have to pay $5 a month for the school, a 3-year program. But if they cannot pay for that $5 because they are so poor, they have to work for that $5. We're gonna give them some work in the school, so they can work, and we pay them, you know, more than $5, of course, but they give us at the end $5. So they can get from their salaries, and that. So yeah, we start getting that, we put it that, and until today, we recollect more than $8 million, and we take out of poverty, I think more than 400 children.
Wow.
Right now, all
That's
these
amazing.
children are working in the island, working on these areas. And the guys who were working, because, you know, if you are hiring from outside, they have to get, you know, they need to pay, you know, more, because they have to keep them here, bring them from outside, and they have to get in housings and everything. In this case, no, they have there. So we save a problem. So that was a great way to do it, isn't it? And a great to fix a problem in a way that is positive, and be sure that, you know, the community and everything works. So
that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing, Chef. And this, you know, that the United Nations recognizes and they give us an award.
No way.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
You know, I was like, you know, my friend and myself, because I'm not just me, was a group of people, you know. We were in the BBC of London. They make interviews all over the world, and we are in the news all over, you know. And it was like, we're kind of famous, you know, but we don't care about that things, you know, because we were thinking the most important thing was not be famous, but, you know, the work we're doing for the children. So really.
That's amazing.
So that was a little kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So a good leader, guys, a good leadership is a people, you know, that are concerned, that have the ideas of how much you struggle to get to that point, isn't it? And when you know how hard it was for you, you're trying to facilitate for the rest that coming behind you. Don't you think, Jeff?
For sure. I completely agree with you on that.
So I was grown in a very bully environment when there was very, you know, the people that was really bullies in the kitchens, you know.
Yeah, rude and bullies.
And now the kitchens, you know, there's no place for bullies in the kitchens, you know. There should be an area with an environment that is more fresh, you know, more cooperative, you know, and there's more technology and more knowledge in the way that we handle things, you know. And that's why I always say, you know, that we need to help with that. And let's put it this way, guys, when Auguste Escoffier started with this, is 140 years, you know. So they've been working in France for almost 150 years, develop their kitchens, you know. Here in the United States, we started less than 40 years ago.
We're still babies.
We're still babies working on this process, guys, to make it better, to start with the kitchen. So right now, the TV, the programs start helping a little bit on the way to develop, you know. But, you know, at the end, it's the customers that has to change the way that they think, you know, and reward the effort of the people who are working on the trenches. That's my point, you know. And the more that they have a better understanding of that hard work means, you know, more rewarding is going to be for the people who are working on the trenches. What do you think, Jeff?
Well said. Well said. I agree.
So effective delegations, guys, this is something, you know, and this is for sure, you know. You don't have to do everything, you know. Even Batman has a Robin, you know. So yeah. So
that is true. You've got to, you know, you always have someone there with you. Batman does always have Robin. I like that saying.
Yeah, so there was, you know, I think it's, you know, this principle is, you know, you cannot do it by yourself, you know, it's a teamwork.
That is so true.
The second thing is, you know, if you want to delegate something, you want to be sure that you delegate to the right person. That's very, very important, don't you think? Delegate a task to the wrong person, that will be a failure, isn't it? So
Totally.
you have to know that the people who are you gonna delegate, they are gonna be able to perform what you're going to delegate it. So they are well known and well trained, and they know exactly that if you give them that, they will do it. So you need to know what to expect, isn't it? When you delegate something, you need to know the result of that delegation. So that's the only way to know, isn't it? To be clear with them. If you do that, what's going to happen? So what, why, and when is very important to know when you're delegating something, you know. What are you going to delegate? Why are you delegating that? And when this is going to happen, you know. That needed. Okay, that's fantastic one. That is a good one, guys.
Yes.
So to have a good results on delegations, people need to understand the results of doing the work good. It makes sense? If I have to do that, what why I have to do that and what will be the results of doing this thing well. And another thing is what happens if I do that and I do it well, and what's the results? What's next, isn't it, Chef?
Yes. What is next?
So don't be non-intrusive, you know, you have to do some feedback, and that feedback has to be sure that you do it in the more respectful way, isn't it? That you don't interrupt what he's doing, you know. You have to do it in a way that is not intrusive. And finally, you know, you have to be sure that people know that there's open lines of communication. So if something happened, they have to be sure that they trust to come and share their experience, isn't it?
For
Sharing
sure.
experience is what makes better the companies, guys, because it can help to improve it all the time, especially when there's conflicts. And the rest is communication, guys. I think I have one more.
Someone said, don't be afraid to use your voice. You know, you need to ask questions and communicate.
That is for sure. Can you see this or not yet, Jeff?
No, I just see the, I only see a link.
Okay. So
Oh,
let's give me one.
yeah, take your time.
I'm read on it. So there is a lot of researching, as you can see, guys. It's not just make the class. It's a lot of working to put a class together.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I think this is the one.
Okay. And it's up. I see it.
Communicate. Communication, the flow of information between people, is a very important part of the workplace. Managers must be able to communicate with employees, and employees must be able to communicate with managers in order to have a profitable business. Communication can be broken into two main types. Verbal. Verbal communication requires the spoken word. Nonverbal. Nonverbal communication involves communicating without speaking, such as in writing or body language. The subtypes of communication include the following: open and closed. Open communication occurs when all parties are able to express ideas to one another, such as in a conversation or debate. On the other hand, closed communication occurs when only one person is actively communicating, like a lecture from your professor. Positive and negative. Positive communication occurs when all parties involved feel that they were heard. Negative communication occurs when people feel like they were not heard or feel like they were attacked. Yelling, name-calling, and arguing are some examples of negative communication. Effective and ineffective. Effective communication occurs when all parties feel that they have reached a desired outcome.
Sorry, guys. Damn it. Okay, this is the end. Sorry for that. It happens.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, it's okay. It happens.
So, We're talking about communications. You know, communication is very important. Be sure that it runs in both ways, and you learn to have an open discussion. Open communication is great to be sure that it works. We're talking about the principle of delegations, guys. When you know when somebody do something great and you delegate and that person works perfectly, do it. You know, what we expect for that. You know, it's not should be enough to say, you know, okay, we did it. You know, but you should have a system of rewards. Don't you think? If somebody do great and the performance is great, you should reward him for that. I wanna hear your idea. Do you think that will work, or just you think that rewarding should be, you shouldn't reward for something that it should be responsibility of everybody?
Let's see. Let's see what people.
Eric says reward system. So what you can reward what will be a reward, guys?
What would be a good reward? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
To reward your employees.
Raise salaries as example, gift cards, promotions. Yeah, you're completely right, guys.
Yeah.
Pay time off.
Meal.
Extra, a little
Free
extra.
meals, extra.
Bonuses.
Yep.
Day off. Yes. Give a leadership role to the person.
Personal days, for sure.
Help on personal days. Give it free meals. Yeah, fantastic, guys. All that
Any
is
of these.
vacations, you know.
Yeah.
Those are great examples.
Promoting.
Guys.
Yeah. Benefits, for sure. All of those are great.
Stock sharings.
Yep.
Yes, some companies, you know, like Dell's and things like used to work here, they used to reward them for great performance by give them share opportunities to share.
Yeah.
So that's that was completely true, you know, and there's many people in Austin that get rich because of their working on Dell's, isn't it?
Yep. That's what we call Dellionaires.
Dellionaires, yes. So we need to have a working place where people are working solvers, isn't it? That is an ideal environment. That is not just one person solving the problems. Everybody knows how to solve a problem. So,
and that is so important, that everybody knows how to solve a problem, because then that makes your life as a manager so much easier.
Yes.
So sorry for interrupting, but that I think is as a manager, that makes your job so much easier.
Yeah, and the things that we talk about is that, you know, people needs to know that they need to be solving problems, isn't it? Like says, you know, you don't come with a problem, you come with a solution, isn't it?
For sure.
So problem solving and decision making comes together, hand by hand, guys. You cannot solve problems without making decisions, isn't it? So to solve problems, you have to be able to make decisions. There are too many types of decisions, you know, one called systematic, one called intuitive decision. So intuitive decisions, they're not so good, isn't it, sometimes, because it comes from the heart, it's come from you know, just by intuition, you know, you want to have a systematic approach, that there's facts in the middle, isn't it? And you help to solve the problem because it comes, you know. Like we have a problem here, we have a pandemic. You can, intuitive decision is come and says, you know, hey guys, the pandemic, one of these days is gonna be over. That's an intuition decision, you know. You know, and a more systematic decision is, okay, what are we going to do to avoid it, you know? And these are the step-by-step what you have to do it. That's enough for today, guys. What is the takeout for today? We want to know, guys. Did you learn something that was interesting, guys?
What was interesting today? Anybody? Very interesting. Delegation. I love the TED Talk video.
Yeah, that
someone
was
wrote.
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, that was really good. Clear understanding on delegating. Delegating is helps build teamwork for sure.
Yes. So guys, before there was people who didn't come, so I have only 16 people who put homeworks over there. So homeworks are credits, you know, that you have to make it. So they were graded in homeworks. So we're gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until 6 o'clock for the homeworks that you have to do. That was basically the job 8. And if you haven't put it, you're gonna have 0. And if you give me, you're gonna be graded nicely. You know, the majority of the people who do that, give me the job 8, they were fabulous. Let me tell you, they were great. Except a couple that were so easy, you know, they just put 4 words and trying to convince me. They was not too convincing, you know. I'm really like, you know, I was like, that's incomplete. You have to make a job 8. You have to be very crisp. I have to say there was one person to give me a job 8 with no pictures or nothing, but that was so well clear done step by step. That was awesome. So put attention to that. I'm gonna give until 6 o'clock for your job 8 homework. There's still, you know, 20 people that hasn't done it. So
did you say you wanted us to share our Google Sheets too from the inventory thing from the last class?
I think he just wanted you to send it to him on his email.
Okay, got it.
You can share with me. You can just share it with me.
Okay.
Just share it with me. It immediately appears on my Gmail.
Okay.
Yes, Haley. Yes, Haley.
So mine's for some reason not adding pictures. Am I able to do it without pictures?
You know, because a job 8 with no pictures, they don't have too much interest. You know, what is the main thing of a job 8, Joshua?
Actually, I mean, I would think, you know, saying the directions with pictures so it can be, you know what I'm saying, you know, you can look at it and see exactly what you have to do.
Well, no, I'm saying my computer isn't allowing me to add them on.
Yeah, mine also. I'm trying to.
That's what I'm just like.
Yeah, I'm going on. I'm going the same thing as you. You know what I'm saying?
I want pictures, but my computer is saying no.
Gotcha.
Okay, so send me a note and say
one of the other ladies on the job site sent me for her job aid that she went to Canva, CANVA.com.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, that's a good place to make job aids. Yes.
Yeah, and she just told me this, you know, today when we were in class today. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I haven't, you know, finished mine also. So I'm like, as soon as we hop off of here, I'm going to go to Canva and start doing mine also.
Gotcha.
Yeah, part of that, guys. We have no more time to do the spreadsheets, but we're gonna still working. Remember, you have to be sure that you finish the first part of your project, isn't it? To have, you know, the concept, the idea, the name, and be sure that you put all together this week, because we have to start putting all these things together. On Friday, I will show you at the end where you have to put all that information, okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
And someone asked, when is it due? It's due on Friday.
It's due on this Friday. So, Chef, for everybody, can you explain them again, Chef Cliff? What is the thing that they have to, the 3 things that they need to put it?
Okay, you need a concept, or kind of what kind of food you're going to be making, or So your concept, your
The name?
the name of the restaurant, and a mission statement.
Those three things.
Everybody got that? Mission statement, name, and the kind of your you know, even
The concept.
Concept. Thank you. Sorry, your concept. We good on that?
Yes, chef.
Cool.
Perfect.
Cool.
So there you are, guys. I hope you enjoy this class, and I will see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Y'all have a great day. Chef, it was a great.
You have a great day
class.
also.
Oh, you too.
Thank you.
This is a great class, Chef.
Thank you so much. It's you know,
Jeff,
always.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all have a great day.
You
Yes,
too.
Thank you,
Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't here Friday because of the military, and I tried to watch the class again. But it's
Okay. It's not on the portal. I am putting it on the portal. I had to I was having some issues, so it'll be on, I would say, in the next hour or two.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not a problem. And when you're done watching the video, text me or email me and let me know, and I'll give you credit for that day.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trinity, you're okay? Need any question?
Hey, Chef Cliff. Hey, did you get my resume?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure you did.
Yeah, I guess I didn't reply, but I will
No, that's
reply
fine.
in a little while.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's no problem. You don't have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to make sure you got it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do
Yes.
no extra stuff.
Of
and none
course.
Of that.
Thank you, and I got it. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sir.
No
Okay,
problem.
Stay, Trinity. Stay a couple of minutes. Lyric, you need something?
Yeah, I have a couple questions
I'll
actually.
say if I need to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've been working on my concept and my menu, and I was looking at it. So I really don't understand. So my concept I chose was of catering. However, I just don't understand the menu part of like a caterer, because I know that it's like it could be like 14 to 20 pages long, or it's just based on what you're doing. I'm not really sure though.
So you don't have to work on the menu yet, because we don't have to get to that point. The
Okay.
only thing that you need to be sure that in catering, there's small caterings, big caterings, giant caterings.
Right.
You know, there's all that. You have to be sure that where is going to be this place, the catering, what is going to be the name, and what is the whole idea of this business. Why are you doing this? That's the concept, isn't it? What is exactly what you're doing it?
Chef, can I ask you one more question on the same topic?
Yes, of course.
Okay. When you're saying like the location, does it have to be an exact location, meaning Austin or Houston or another city, or does it, can it be, like I mean, I'm not saying a fictional location because there's no fictional locations, but I'm just saying like, like a one that we come up with that's like a perfect for our restaurant, or like how does that?
Yeah, let me tell you, it has to be a specific location. And when we're gonna work, you're gonna get to the point that you're gonna get to the city, get the names, and you have to give me exactly the streets and everything where it's gonna be located.
Well, then
that's gonna be part of the exercise.
Okay, that's what you answered my question perfectly. You answered my question perfectly.
Yeah, but right now what we want is the concept. What is that you're gonna make?
Yes, sir. I really appreciate that, because I'm gonna give you that, and I'm really hoping for y'all's feedback. When I give y'all that, because it's my concept that I'm gonna give y'all. That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve in the next 5 years.
Perfect.
Nice.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much, and y'all have a great day.
Hey, you too.
So Trinity.
Trinity?
She has a question, Chef. Okay, we hear you. If you cannot, you can type it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
you can type it. You can type it on the chat.
While she's typing,
Lyric,
do you have anything?
I think that's it for now. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
Already, you too. Peace.
Peace. Averin, do you have a question?
I think she's not there right now.
Oh.
But she's been very active. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mimikas, what is the due for the at 6 to, what is the due at 6 today?
Sorry, what is due at 6 today? Okay, that is the job
job aid.
Job aid. So like how to, let's say, make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or how to change oil, or something like that, but step-by-step instructions with maybe some pictures or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
A job aid is normally a poster, a laminated information. It can be on TV, it can be whatever. It can be a piece of paper, something that explains in concrete, something that is specific, need to help somebody to do it. And we put job aids in areas that is important. For example, how to wash your hands, isn't it? How to dispose trash, that kind of things, like how to use the right cutting boards, the colors, how to put, if we put chlorides and things like that on the dish pit, how much you put and how you put it. And normally these come in with pictures and everything to explain, in just one picture, very easy, step by step, what you have to do. That's a job aid. Did you get it, Trinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to put it, and you put it in just one, and you can get into Google and do it there, or you can use any. There's a lot of programs, ads that you can get it for doing job aids, isn't it?
Yes.
That they are pre-done it, so it's easy to make it.
Did that help you out? Google Docs, yes, that would be fine.
You can do it in
Or
Google Docs.
Slides.
There's many of you guys are already making Google Docs.
You can do either Google Docs or Slides as well. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Have a great day. Bye,
Have
Trinity.
a good day, Trinity.
Chef, you good?
Yes, Chef, I'm good.
All right. Have a great day. I've already sent the email and put in grades, and I'll do the video in just a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working in tomorrow's
Yeah.
Chef.
Yeah. No problem. Just let me know if you need anything. Okay.
Okay, Chef.
I'll be here.
See
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.